Prosecutors say when suspects like Parsons may be suffering mental health issues, help them catch a man accused of stealing weed eaters and other lawn care items. State police say nationally violence against troopers went down in 2012, but that doesn't seem to be the case here in West Virginia. Officials call this property history a confusing mess. Because this is a more traditional style hunting and fishing show, leaders say you won't find any semi-automatic weapons on display here. Well, I'm here on Corridor G, right at the Kanawha-Lincoln County line. Half the city is out here with me just celebrating. We've got the Martin Luther King Jr. male chorus going on right behind me, thanks to the very brave efforts of one young man, and he's standing here right next to me, Bert Scott. You know, Bert, tell me, what did you see? Neighbors in the Garrison Avenue area are no stranger to high water, but city officials say flooding there has gotten worse in recent months. For people traveling the turnpike right now, it looks a whole lot more like Christmas than Halloween. In Charleston, Jennifer Rizzi, my Z10 O'Clock News. Right now, the only swimmers in the Sissonville pool are a couple of ducks. That's because it hasn't been open for about 5 years.
Right along the steps here, you can see where the concrete is just totally falling away. It's become just completely unsafe, and it's just rotting.
But 4-H leaders at Camp Virgil Tate are hoping to change that. They want to build a new pool for the community, and they say the forest can fund it. Talking about timbering trees to fix up the facility.
It may take up to 3 years to do the whole thing and do it responsibly, but we'll be following it very closely.
County planners explained the project at a meeting Monday night. They're working with a forester to make sure it's done safely and prevent problems. But some neighbors say they're not satisfied.
What all you people need to do before you do this is put on your boots and walk back there into that property. We need to be thinking about the generations that's going to come to this camp and can go back there and see a good stand of timber.
The trees are so old and they're dying and they're rotting out and they're taking out useful lumber as they fall down.
Camp leaders claim money really does grow on trees, and they want the pool to benefit.
It's always been a big part of Sissonville in the past, and they would like to keep that tradition alive.
Officials say the pool project will cost more than $700,000. They say timbering the camp will bring in about $40,000. They plan to get the rest from harvesting surrounding areas. The issue will be discussed again Wednesday night at the county commission meeting. Police are calling them havens for crime. Neighbors are calling them a nuisance.
They either need to fix them up or tear them down. They're an eyesore.
Officials say abandoned houses are bringing down neighborhoods, causing more problems with the start of summer.
They do tend to attract criminal activity because there's no one there to stop them from doing it.
They are potential for people to go in there in good weather and sleep, do drugs.
Mayor Danny Jones says he works with building commissioners to identify and board up vacant houses. We found several on the west side, most marked by overgrown grass, boarded up windows, and open doors.
It's always on the west side, and I can't stand it. That's why I'm trying every way in the world just to get out.
I got no choice. I got to fix the dang things up and get a little bit of my money back.
Howard Manking owns several of the dilapidated homes and rented them out as a landlord. He says tenants ran them to the ground, and now he can't afford the damages.
I'm living on welfare. I got a big house on the west side. I lost it. I mean, I can't pay my taxes and fees. And they're going to say, well, Manking, you don't keep the houses up. That's right. I don't.
Neighbors now demanding action before more crime claims a life. Now, Mayor Jones says he puts liens against vacant properties. He even orders them to be torn down if no one pays. A shocking discovery on what you're paying in taxes. It all started when Jesse Mullins made a trip to the Lincoln County Courthouse, but never imagined what he would find there.
You need good records.
Mullins bought a piece of property 3 years ago at a tax sale, and now he's trying to sell it. But thanks to problems in the property books, he can't even prove he owns it.
I think the courthouse should have the responsibility of making sure they've got good deed work and that no false deeds are filed.
Mullins says he discovered a messy and poorly written property history, full of inconsistencies and doctored deeds. Officials call this property history a confusing mess. Sale dates are recorded out of order. Others on notarized documents remain altered with pen. Mullins also found that others had been claiming ownership of his property and even paying taxes on it for much less than he was.
Some of it's gone unnoticed for a long time.
We dug deeper and talked to Assessor Josh Brumfield, who says it's just one example of many in a tax system prone to problems.
This is not uncommon for, somebody to come in and they think they're paying too much for taxes, and if they think that, they usually are.
Brumfield says he found and changed more than 20 incorrect tax codes, all after Mullins spoke up about his discovery. He says in a county with limited resources and lots of land, they depend on you to point out problems.
We rely on landowners. I mean, if you move, if you change residence, if you move from one house to another, and because that changes, classifications. So, I strongly encourage, if people, want accuracy, then they have to provide us with information.
So we wanted to know how many others are affected by a system plagued by poor bookkeeping. County officials say there's no easy way to tell.
It would be great to know if this was the only deed that was in Lincoln County that was vague and that was hard to determine boundary lines with.
Part of the problem may be where everything was done by hand then. Everything's handwritten, and I think it leaves more room for a mistake to be made.
A system that now leaves Mullins feeling victimized for following the rules.
You need to be confident that your deeds and information that's being kept by the courthouse records or whoever, that they're intact and not being converted to something else.